Hello, welcome everyone to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. My name is Heike and I will be your host. So today it's all about live response, which is, I think, one of our most favorite features from customers. And we haven't yet done a ninja show around it, which is weird. So today we do it and I have two guests with me, Lior and Ameer. So please, Lior, introduce yourself.
Hi, very happy to be here. My name is Liberman. I am the response PM in MDE.
Hi, Heike. Hi, everyone. I'm Ameer, Senior Engineer in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, mainly focusing on investigation and response development. And thank you, Heike, for hosting us in this amazing show.
Thank you so much for joining me as my expert. So we are talking about live response. We want to give everyone, of course, first an overview, but then we go deeper. We want to understand what are some best practices, what are the required permissions, how does it work with the library and scripts, as well as, of course, see some examples of some more advanced scripts that you can run. And logging and all these things will be hopefully clarified today. Let's start, Lior. Give us a quick overview of what is live response and why is it such a beloved feature?
So live response is a great service. It gives security teams immediate access to machine using a remote shell connection. It allows them to do in-depth investigation and take response action to contain threats in real time. Basically, it enables the security operations team to collect forensic data, run scripts, send suspicious entities for analysis, remediate threats, and proactively hunt for them.
Okay, so you're basically on that other machine with like your command line, and then you can execute commands on that machine while it's being somewhere else.
Exactly.
Okay. So are there any prerequisites in order for a security analyst to perform live response actions?
So in order to use it, you must enable it at the tenant level through the advanced setting page and make sure that you're using a supported version. In terms of platforms, we support all platforms, so you can use Windows, Mac, or Linux.
So when you say in the advanced settings, and then you were saying and use the supported version, what does it mean?
So you need to use a supported client version. In our public documentation, you have the list of the exact versions that are supporting the live response feature. And through the advanced setting page, the admins of the tenant can enable this feature. Since this is a very robust capability, in some cases, organizations decide to disable it. So you must make sure that the feature is turned on.
Okay, so now I understand. With a supported version, you mean supported OS where you want to perform the live response. And we support today Windows, Mac, and Linux, right? So right. It's there for everything. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, not everyone, even though the toggle is turned on, can now perform it. So, Ameer, what are the permissions that someone needs to do live response?
So basically, there are three important permissions related to live response. The basic live response permission, which gives access to a limited set of live response action, mostly read-only actions. We have the advanced live response permission. It exposes all of the live response action, including the very powerful actions that we have, like running script, performing remediation, and a couple of other. The third one is security settings permission. You need to have it in your user role in order to be able to manage scripts and files in the library.
Okay, so when you say read permissions, or like the basic, it's probably, I don't know, list processes, lists, DNS queries, or these kind of things. So that's what exactly. Basically, okay. And we will go later into some of the scripts and these kind of things. So, and then because, of course, you have access to machines and you can do things on them, I would assume a common question is there something logged? Where can I find the log? So, Lior, where can we see things that happened during a live response?
We are aware of the riskiness of the feature, and we want to make sure that everything is tracked and that we allow proper manageability of this feature. So we have two places in the portal where we audit the history of the session. The first one will be the Action Center, in which you can see details as for any other actions that is taken via the portal. In the Action Center, you will see a dedicated row about the session and the command that was taken, the user who initiated the command, and when the session started. From the Action Center, you can access a more detailed logging of the entire session history that includes the ID of the command line, the duration, and the status of the command.
So, and then of course, Lior, I guess not 5 people can be in the same live session at the same time. So what are some of the restrictions or limitations that we have for live response?
Yeah, sure. We want to make sure that the infrastructure is stable and operational. So we set a few limitations. The first one will be that only 25 sessions can run at the same time. The session will be timed out after 30 minutes. Single command have a time limit of 10 minutes. That goes for the more basic commands, but we do have an exception for those that require some more time, such as get file and find file, which then the limit will be 30 minutes. One user can initiate up to 10 concurrent sessions, and a device can only be in one session at a time.
And this is all on a tenant level, right? So per customer tenant.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so we talked about get file and find file and run file and basic commands, but of course there's also more powerful scripts that you can actually perform or run in a live response session. So Ameer, what kind of scripts do we support? We talked about it. You can run your own script. So what are these scripts?
Yeah, so for Windows, we support PowerShell scripts, and for macOS and Linux, we support Bash scripts. And I would like to mention that run script action in live response is one of the powerful actions that we have, since it gives our users the flexibility to implement their scripts according to their needs. If, for example, if some users are missing built-in action in live response console, they can just go and implement it with the scripts.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And I remember from my old Defender for Endpoint times, my old, because I cover so many different products now, there was a toggle when you enable the live response feature in the advanced settings page that there was something about signed and unsigned scripts. So Lior, can you educate me on what that is and how that works for our different platforms?
Right. Exactly. In the advanced settings page, we do have a toggle that allows the enforcement of the use of unsigned scripts. This is supported for Windows only. And for XPlat, this is not available at the moment.
Okay, so you don't enforce it for
Exactly.
XPlat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you can still. Okay, awesome. So before we jump into the demo, there were like some latest improvements, Lior. Please share about those.
So one of the most popular feature requests that we heard from our customers was the need to run a live response session in parallel to an automated investigation that is currently running. Previously, a live response session would simply fail. And now this is possible. This is relevant for both the console itself and the live response API.
Wonderful. This is great news. So hopefully everybody out there was missing it and now have it. Ameer, it's time for a demo and I can't wait. So let's do it. What are you showing us today in your demo?
I'll show you a demo for attack, end-to-end attack, starting from the portal, jumping to live response, trying to contain, investigate, and remediate the threat. Cool. So we will start our demo from the alerts page in Microsoft Defender 365 security portal. As you can see here, we have suspicious scheduled task activity in one of our endpoints. Let's go to the device page from the alerts. And before we starting the live response session, we might want to contain the threat and to avoid any data exploitation or spreading the malware to other devices inside the organization. So we will just isolate it and make sure there is no outbound or inbound communication. Once that's done, again, from the device manual commands, we can open live response session, and it's remote shell with a very powerful set of actions to run on the remote device. And since I have advanced live response permission in my user role, actually I have accessibility to all of these actions. Now let's start some exploration on this suspicious scheduled task. Using the scheduled task action, we will list all of the configured scheduled tasks inside the device. Here is our suspicious one. To get more details about this specific scheduled task, we can run the same command with the scheduled task path. And here you go. We have the registration info. We have the triggering, which is every 5 minutes, a bit weird. We have the execution actions that is triggering our suspicious malware. Just to mention, there is another action in live response to get all persisted method like scheduled task and autoruns, which is the persistence action. And it's also very useful.
So what do you use it for? Persistent, it shows you what are the different, or you can set something, or it shows you something. What would that be?
So basically, it will show you all of the persisted method, including autoruns and the scheduled task. The previous action is only specific to scheduled tasks.
And it would show you this for that specific file?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
It will show the same scheduled task with the same information that we got from running the specific command of scheduled task. So let's try now to investigate a bit more about the process, system32exe. We will run processes command to get all currently running processes. And here's our suspicious process, system32 with the PID 9464. To get more details about this process, we can simply run the same command with the process ID. So we can see all the privileges this process has, the loaded modules inside the memory space, the memory usage, disk usage, and a lot of useful information. And we can actually navigate inside the file system following the same principle as Windows console. So let's go and see the image file on disk. And here it is, system32. Now I would like to get more information about the image itself inside the device. For that, we run file info action. And as you can see, it's like unsigned image, unknown publisher. So if we can sum it up, we have scheduled tasks running every 5 minutes and triggering unsigned process without known publisher. And one step before we end this process, let's analyze it with our incrimination engine to try to reach a clear verdict about this process. So we run the analyze file. It might take some time because it's actually behind the scene will perform several techniques for analysis, like static analysis, deep analysis, and very soon we will get a report that actually, as you can see, clearly stating the image is infected. Like all of our engines, including the deep analysis and the static analysis and the reputation check, all agreed it's infected file. Now I have no doubt that I need to clean it, and very fast. To clean it, we have remediate action in live response. If you want to see manual of any action in live response, you can just hit help before the name of the action. And here you can see remediation applies to different entity types like file, processes, registries, and so on. The cool thing about this action that if we just run it on this process or image file, it will automatically identify all the other related entities and will automatically remediate them as well. And hopefully this is what we'll see in the output of this action very soon. the file was remediated, the registry keys, the task, scheduled task, all entities related to this process were automatically remediated. Now we can be a bit more calm about this threat.
Okay, so now that everything has been remediated, what are your next steps?
First of all, I'm double checking that the threat is indeed cleaned and does not exist anymore on the device, so we can see it's really not there, and the scheduled task also has been removed. And now that we feel better about this threat, we might want to collect more information from this device for offline investigations. And for that, I will use the run script action. So I will upload my script that collect different traces from the device. I'll give it description. I'll check overwrite if there is older version exist in the library. Once it's uploaded, we can access the library with this simple action. We can see here all the files and scripts available, and simply hit run with the PowerShell script name.
So I highly recommend here that everybody who uploads scripts to the library really makes clear what they are, right? Because it's a library that I would assume all the people that have access to live response can see. So the clearer your description is for your scripts, the more people can use it.
Totally agree, and especially if there is parameters that are required for the scripts. So I totally agree. Yeah. So in this case, the PowerShell created for us a zip package inside the device, and we can pull it back to our side using the get file command. We will be able to download it locally for offline investigations. And here it is. The file is downloaded now. And just in case I don't want to keep this PowerShell inside the live response, I can simply delete it with the library delete action, and it will be removed.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so I think it's time to disconnect live response session, going back to the device and release it to the end user so he will be able to continue his usual work.
Glad you didn't forget that part.
Yeah.
So not just like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, so as you saw, it's like we could really quickly and efficiently contain, investigate, and remediate a threat only by using live response.
I think it's really important to emphasize that this investigation was done in the context of a single alert. And we do see a lot of value in the correlation between alerts and reviewing the entire incident. So we really do suggest that you will go through the incident and utilize the entire security stack features that we are providing within Defender.
Thank you. Yes. So the attack story view and the summary of it and all of that. Correct. It's super tiny, the screen. Is there a way, like in the command, as you can do it with a regular CMD, to change the size? Or does everybody needs to work with like a, how do you call that glass that you can?
No, so basically you can zoom in and out from the screen to change the font size. Control scrolling with the mouse will do the magic.
Okay, wonderful. So we talked about the library. Are there like any best practices on managing all those scripts? So I can imagine an enterprise environment with like lots of SecOps. So how do they keep track of what's in the library? Are they running the latest scripts, or what are some best practices here?
The management of the library can be controlled by RBAC, and we can grant for very specific users the permission to upload scripts to the library to keep it updated and organized. And we also suggest to enable the enforcement of the use of signing scripts only.
I would like to add here that for the library management, we have public API, which users and customers can use to automate also this process and to do it more efficiently.
Okay, so I think we covered everything. We talked about enabling it. We talked about the permissions, the role-based access control, RBAC. the limitations, as well as the logging, where people can find what happened on the machines. And then, of course, the live demo. And there is so many more scripts that you, I think, outside can probably find on GitHub. Don't forget to sign them before you actually upload them to your tenant. So yeah, I think we covered everything. If you still have a question, you can use our page here to keep asking questions, and we will get back to you. So for now, thank you, Lior, and thank you, Ameer, for being my experts, for preparing all this amazing content. And I hope everyone enjoyed the show. Talk soon.